Well, Dave here, Fix and Fly RC. Hey, another repair video. Hey, so marketplace can be a great place to find some good deals on some airplanes, and I've bought 3 or 4 off marketplace, and for the most part they've been pretty good, and occasionally have run into some issues with them. But fairly recently, I bought an A-10, a 70mm A-10 FMS off of Marketplace. It had some life. The guy I bought it from had bought it from somebody else and had to do some repairs on it. But I got it, at a really, really good price, and got it home and started flying it. And it actually became one of my, was fastly becoming one of my favorite planes to fly. Just flew real smooth. It was real, just gentle in the sky. You could do maneuvers with it. Didn't really have any bad habits other than maybe a little bit of the front gear was a little bit wobbly. And I think that might have been from a previous wreck. So anyway, I had it out a few weeks back, and did all my pre-flight checks, and you may, if you've watched any of my videos, know I've got a twin 70 B-1B bomber that I had a motor go out right before takeoff, and so I didn't get it up. But now, for any time I have twin motors, I always check and make sure that both motors are spinning. Rolled out and did the takeoff, and it rolled out normal, but just about the time I lifted up, I noticed I was not getting any power, and so I try to turn it around and get it back, but there was just not enough there to keep it flying. And I made the critical mistake, and I've remembered this on other times when a plane's going down, is to get the gear up. And I was trying to avoid some things, and I forgot to get the gear up. So I thought I could land it in a field. It's a soccer field. It's relatively good, but I thought I could get in there, but there just wasn't enough power to gently land it. So when it hit the ground, I actually ended up ripping the landing gear out, which that's easy enough to put back in. The problem with this is that it actually stripped the wire out right at the base. So I am going to take these apart and see if there's any chance of resoldering that back in or together or not, and I may have to replace those. So what I did was when I got it back to my car, I powered it up again and noticed that this motor right here was just kind of going tick, 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 So I was like, well, I either got a motor or something else going on. So I've powered it back up since I got it home, and this motor wouldn't power up at all. So I wanted to see, okay, was it the motor? Was it the ESC? Was something else was going on? So what I did was, there's 6 screws up in the top here, and this will just actually lift right up. And then the motors actually plug in. The ESC wires are just sitting right here. Let's see if I can, probably can't see it, but they're right here in the back, the ESC wires. So what I did is that I unplugged the motor that wasn't working, and I've got some other 70mm motors from other planes. I plugged 2 different ones back up in that ESC, and neither one would power up. So I'm pretty confident now the motor is probably okay. Matter of fact, the guy who bought it from it actually had just put new motors in it. So I'm pretty confident the motors are okay. So it's pretty sure the ESC's gone out, or something's at the ESC, and so now the trick's going to be is to figure out how to get the ESC out of the plane so I can replace it. So let me show you up front here. It's a little bit of a mess, and I got to figure out how to take things loose and try to get the ESC. So let's take a look. First, I just want to show you, here's the back of the plane that I was pointing at, and you can see right here where the both ESCs come out, and then you see they just plug in right there. So really easy to get to that part. It's one of the easiest parts that I saw. But here's going to be the challenge. As you can see up in here, that's quite the nest of wires and stuff in there. So I'm going to have to try to look back up in there and see where the ESC attaches and how I can get it out. So what I did was I turned it over and pulled the vent cover off the back just to see if I could see the ESCs and if they were tied down, glued down, or just sitting there, and they were loose. So I've decided I'm going to pull from the back up through the back of the plane from the front. So one thing I've done, I have tied a string to the power connector on the front. So when I pull it through, I'm going to have the string running through the plane. So I'll have a pull to pull it back through. I also have a metal rod that I'll easily be able to get through there. But the string is just a good double safety, so I make sure I have a pull. So I'm going to pull these through and get the ESCs out and maybe see if I can even see if there's some damage. Okay, so here are the ESCs. It's a 280 amp ESCs, and here's where I had tied the string on to pull it back through if that needs to be. And this has also got a BEC on it as well. So we'll see here shortly how this works out. Okay, so I just wanted to see, once I got everything out, if the motors would spin up or not. So I had to pull my receiver out just so I could get the connectors, get everything hooked back up. But I had noticed when I pulled it out, these, since it's two ESCs, they are wired together from the ESC. Each ESC has a power wire, or a cable wire, and then they're wired together, and it goes into the throttle port. And I noticed, well, actually I have them, both of them, but one of them, they have the little clip on that's supposed to push in, and the little clip goes up over the other connector to hold it in place. This one actually was missing one. And I noticed when I was messing with the cable that this one seemed to be a little loose. So I'm thinking what happened was that this must have come loose, and it just finally broke connections. So when I pushed it all the way back in and made sure I had a good connection, I went ahead and it took me two spare 70 millimeter motors. I've hooked them up, powered it on, both motors work, and I've jiggled the wires now, to see if there was a loose connection somewhere. Can't find a loose connection, so I'm gonna think about it if I want to just go ahead and put another ESC. That's it's 180 to 120 bucks depending on what website I go to replace those, and that's as much as I paid for the plane almost. And plus I got the gears and stuff to fix. So I think I'm going to put it back with the old ESCs back in, change the Y connector out to make sure I have good connections, and put some tape on it. And that's always a lessons learned, is if you have any connections that are going to be around things you're pulling, either you want to get these clip-ons that snap on, or I always get a little piece of tape and put them on there just to make sure. And I've even taken a little hot glue and put on across them, because you can peel it off real easy, but it will also hold it on. So I think that's the path we're going to go. I'll let you know. I'm going to think through it over the night and decide what I'm going to do. Hey everybody, Dave here, Fix and Fly RC, back with the A-10 ESC repair. So been a minute since I started this video, so had to get back and kind of figure out where I was at. Watched one of the other videos on my feed. I was having some issues with some batteries and soldering and dealing with the company, and just kind of got out of working on the plane for a while. So anyway, back on the table and ready to go. So what I have decided to do, as just mentioned in the previous clip there, is I'm just going to go with the ESC that was in it. Pretty convinced that the problem really was just a bad connection. I've been able to power the motors up a couple times with no issues. Run them up for a minute and haven't seen any issues. Wiggle wires around just to see if there's another loose connection. Find out when I get it back in if anything bad happens, but let me show you what I did. Okay, so getting ready to make the pull back through. So one thing you want to do is this, I mentioned this has the BSC and the throttle wire, you know, that you got to pull back through. So I've just taped them back down on top of the connector here so it'll all pull through at the same time. And of course, I still have my pull string tied up through here. So what we'll do is we're just going to pull all that back together. And then, of course, what I mentioned before is I have put tape around the connections on the Y connector here, making sure that they are good and won't come apart. And one thing I use, depending on what I'm doing, I like this 3M, I think it's Blendum tape. It's a medical tape. It's really thin and lightweight, and it's really good for a lot of different stuff. So in this case, it's not taking up any room. I could have put electrical tape on there. That would have been okay too. But one other thing too, just kind of an FYI, this is great hinge repair out in the field. So if you have an aileron or something, especially the ones that are molded into the plane and maybe it breaks loose or it's getting loose, you can put these on the wings and do a quick hinge repair. I've actually done an F-16 with this, and it's still holding up. So all right, so let's get to pulling. Okay, so let's get her ready to pull here. So got my pull string in there. Got my connector in, and this should pull hopefully through real easy. Hopefully there's really nothing else to catch it coming back through, but we'll help feed it as we go through here. And just as I said, nothing to catch. I'm catching on something. Probably what's happening is the there's actually a little hole or something that's get through, and I think what's happening is the connector is bending on me. Try to give it a little support. Okay, I'm going to double check something. Okay, I had to figure it out, so I actually got it pulled through, but let me kind of walk you through what I did, because I don't want to pull it back through. I noticed I had to turn the plane over and look down to the bottom. This is one of the areas where actually having the pull string already in there gives you the right path where the wire came from is very beneficial. And because I could see where the path, so there's actually a little hole in the back where the connector had to come up through and over. So I kind of had to, having it access from the bottom, and this is where I had taken the air vent off. So it gave me the access back here, and I was able to pull the connector up and get it through. And then once I got it through there, I turned it back over and was able to, to kind of feed the wire through this way and gently, pull the connector through. I'm gonna really have to clean that mess up. Sorry, I gotta find where the connector went. Oh, there it is. So you see it got buried in there. So I just had to kind of gently pull it, and kind of wiggle it back and forth a little bit and get it through, because there's still some wires back up in there that you got to kind of try not to get to. And of course, you got your board here. You want to be careful not to unplug anything from there. And one good thing is always mark wires, take pictures, so you got a place to go back to. So anyway, I've got the ESC is now pulled back through. The first thing I'll do is I'll go ahead and hook up the wires and and give myself a motor test and verify the motors are good, get them reinstalled, and clean this rat's nest up now that I've got it all apart. I'm going to find a way to tie these wires together so it looks a little bit more reasonable than it did when I took it apart. Then next thing is I got to work on the landing gear. I actually fixed one. I'll do a video on how I soldered those wires together and got it working. But I actually got one set of gear working, got to get the other one, and then got to fix the front gear. I think she'll probably fly again. Well, she'll definitely fly. It'll go up, it'll come down. Hopefully it'll be in one piece when that happens. So anyway, this is I did an ESC on the F-22. They're all about the same procedures, but they're a little different because it depends on how they built the plane and, you know, when they pulled stuff through, when they were building it through. So the kind of main thing is take your time. You know, if something's not working, just don't yank on it because you may break your wire and you lose, you know, your pull. In this case, it was really important to have that where the string went through. I might have not figured that out without seeing that string, or figured it out, but it would take a lot longer. So anyway, hope this helps anybody. If so, just leave me a comment or thumbs up. Just out here trying to help people when I can't find videos, especially of when I'm trying to do stuff, and maybe can help one or two other people. So Dave Fix and Fly RC, happy flying.